The episode 1 starts in 1968, where scientists were the first to acknowledge the terrible effects of climate change. With a sarcastic host present, two epidemiologists passively discuss the possibility of a pandemic. Dr. Newman offers a destructive theory. On the other hand, one scientist emphasizes that could result from a viral pandemic. He discusses the often ignored fungi that take control of their host's body, effectively mind control the host's bodily functions, and maintain the infection without eliminating it. If the temperature rises, the fungi that commonly infect insects will flourish and choose humans as their next victims. And if that does occur, the war will undoubtedly end in defeat for humanity. After that scene cuts and we meet Sarah and her father, Joel, in Texas in 2003. Sarah serves Joel a birthday breakfast, waits for him to leave for work with his brother Tommy. News of a disturbance in Jakarta and military planes flying above. Sarah then steals a watch and some cash from Joel's drawer and leave for school with Joel and Tommy. Sarah goes to a watch repair shop to fix her dad's watch, but the watch repairman's frantic wife practically pushes her out, but she got watch repaired. Sarah then pays a visit to her neighbor's house on her way back. While she is baking cookies with Ms. Adler, she does not notice her elderly mother's startling physical changes. Joel forgets to bring the birthday cake back home, but Sarah's enthusiasm saves the day. Until Joel has to leave to free Tommy from police custody. Sarah wakes up in the middle of the night to the sounds of explosions and alarms, and when she turns on the television, she finds a terrifying program. When she goes outside to bring Mercy, the neighbor's dog, back to the Adler's house, she finds a blood trail leading to a Mr. Adler who has been partially eaten. She looks around and sees their elderly mother running away from her with tendrils sticking out of her mouth. Joel and Tommy happen to pull up at the exact same time, grab Sarah, and they kill the infected woman. They navigate the mazes of frantic crowds, infected individuals, blasts, and low-flying planes with their tribe. Joel puts his daughter's safety ahead of saving another family with a young child. But a blast damages Sarah's ankle and destroys their car before they can escape the massacre in Texas. Joel, holding Sarah in his arms, encounters a member of the military who has strict instructions to kill all civilians. Joel repeatedly assures the man that they are not infected and begs the man to release them. Despite his apologies, the man is unable to defy the orders he has been given. The soldier violently fires at them before Joel can do anything to protect himself. Tommy steps in and shoots the member of the military before he can shoot anymore. Joel, on the other hand, escapes with a scratch in the aftermath, leaving Sarah with a fatal stomach shot. Joel is unable to fully accept that his daughter has passed away as he holds the wailing child in his arms and watches her become silent. 20 years later, a young child visits the Fedra base camp and is found to be infected with when tested by a tester. Before giving the child a tranquilizing injection, a member of Fedra calms the child down by promising him or her new toys and clothes. Joel, who is getting older, can be seen in the quarantine zone selling anything and everything illegal. Having lost his softness with his daughter, Joel receives ration tickets from a Fedra member in exchange for some drugs, making every effort to survive in the midst of danger. Concerned about the Firefly's recent attacks on Fedra, the man advises him to rest. Joel knows the man who gets cryptic radio signals from a particular tower. We find out that Tommy and Joel have had an argument, and Joel is actively seeking Tommy out. Joel conjures up a plan to assemble a car to escape. He needs a car battery to accomplish that, which Robert has paid for on behalf of his partner Tess. Tess has been duped by Robert, a fidgety and untrustworthy individual, who took her money and sold the battery to someone else. Robert holds Tess hostage to make sure he won't have to pay for his theft. After a sudden blast, she goes home to Joel, and they come up with a plan to make Robert pay. At a Firefly's camp, a little girl is still chained in a filthy room. The girl, who has clearly had enough as always responds their rigorous tests. Marlene, the Firefly's boss and leader, is quickly introduced to us. Kim, her associate, doesn't really understand why Fireflies are attacking Fedra from all directions. In order to get Ellie, a young girl, out of the quarantine zone and to the west, the Fireflies have been distracting Fedra. Kim sees a convincing note from Salem about how important it is to safely get Ellie out of the quarantine zone. Ellie is baffled as to why she has not been redirected to military school. She even has very little knowledge of her own birth. She is informed by Marlene that she dropped her off at the Fedra military school to ensure her safety. When the car battery that Robert was supposed to sell to Tess but sold to them instead turned out to be useless. On their mission to fish out Robert, Joel and Tess run into the disastrous fallout of the fight and find Robert dead. Marlene has been shot in the stomach, and Kim has lost an ear in the fiery mayhem. When Ellie sees Joel, she instinctively attacks him and ends up being thrown against the wall with a gun in her face. Marlene knows what Joel and Tess are capable of, both good and bad. She realizes that they are the only ones who will be able to get Ellie out of the danger zone. While Joel is apprehensive about taking on responsibility for her at first, he quickly changes his mind when Marlene promises him the car and the ammunition he will need to reach Tommy. Joel and Tess bring Ellie to their home to wait out the day and start moving at night. Ellie overhears their conversation about meeting a certain Bill and Frank. She is also snoopy enough to have come across a book of hit songs listed by year. She quickly decodes that the songs are supposed to be associated with. If the radio plays a song from the 60s, Joel will know that there's nothing new in stock. And if a 70s song is played, he will know that something new is in. She may not be able to understand what the 80s songs, but she is smart enough that it means danger ahead. When night falls, Tess and Joel meticulously maneuver their way out of the dangerous quarantine zone. Just when they think they are safe, they run into the Fedra member who bought the drugs from Joel. He isn't in a position to cut them any slack, considering the tense circumstances. They are ordered to get down on their knees while he checks them with the tester. Before he can read Ellie's test result, she swiftly stabs him in the leg and gives Joel and Tess a chance to get back up. The furious Fedra individual points a gun at Ellie, who is especially frightened because her test result came out positive. Joel is once again placed in a position where a little girl is facing death by a military bullet. But trauma manifests differently for different people. At that point, Joel doesn't necessarily care about Ellie. All he knows is that it's his second chance at stopping the death of an innocent. With all the fury he has been hoarding up inside for decades, he brutally beats the man to death. The two are understandably unnerved at the thought of smuggling an infected child. Ellie shows them the bite mark on her arm to reassure them that it is several weeks old. She is the very first person in 20 years to be immune to the deadly fungus. Her immunity to the infection is what motivated Marlene to send her to the West, where she could be examined. The Fireflies hope that once science gets a hold of an immune individual, it will be able to come up with a way to stop the monstrous disease. Hope you liked the video. Stay tuned for the further updates. Thank you. See you next time. Till then, be safe, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye.